Two teenage boys walked into a luxury car dealership wearing combat shorts and plain white t-shirts. They approached a high-end car asking a few questions. The salesman looked them up and down with disdain. "I think you're in the wrong place," he sneered. "These cars start at $900,000. Laughter echoed from staff and customers. Humiliated, the boys quietly left. The next morning, two Rolls-Royce Boat Tails pulled up outside the dealership. As the back door opened, the same boys stepped out, followed by their father in a tailored suit. The salesman watched, stunned. He never saw it coming. It was a normal day for the showroom until two teenage boys on bicycles appeared at the entrance, their arrival almost silent, the only sound being the light squeak of bike tires. They were dressed in combat shorts, plain white t-shirts, and scuffed sneakers. No designer labels, no Rolex watches, just youthful curiosity and wide-eyed wonder. They parked their bikes beside the front steps and walked in, the glass doors parting with a soft whoosh. Their faces lit up instantly, soaking in every shimmer of automotive perfection before them. One finally turned to his brother and whispered, "That's it. That's the one," pointing at a deep midnight blue hypercar that looked like it belonged on a magazine cover. Beauty sculpted into metal and speed, one of only a few in the country, price tag over $900,000. As they moved closer, a voice cut through the air, sharp, clipped, and condescending. "Can I help you?" A salesman in a tailored navy suit approached, adjusting his cufflinks, shoes polished to a mirror shine. He looked them over slowly, eyes dropping to their clothes and sneakers. "I'm sorry, but I think you're in the wrong place." One boy blinked. "We were just wondering if these vehicles start at $900,000. The salesman interrupted, enunciating each word as if speaking to someone who didn't understand English. Behind him, staff members chuckled. A nearby couple gave small, patronizing shakes of their heads. The boys' smiles vanished. "Sorry to bother you," the older one muttered as they turned to leave, shoulders lower than when they had walked in. But just as they were about to ride away, a voice called out, "Wait!" A woman stepped out from a nearby desk, cream blouse, black slacks, hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail. "Do you have a minute?" she asked. The boys hesitated, then stepped inside again. She met them near the car they had been admiring. "I heard you asking about this model. It's one of the finest in our lineup. Let me walk you through some features." The boys lit up again. She crouched to speak at eye level, explaining engine specs, customization options, and technology. She handed them brochures and noticed they asked thoughtful questions about engineering and design, things most people didn't even care about. "Do you want to sit in it?" she offered. They took turns sitting inside, showing quiet appreciation. When they left, she handed them her business card. "If you ever have more questions, you can call me directly. You're always welcome here." They rode away with heads held higher. The smug salesman leaned to a coworker and muttered, "Wasting her time." She heard him, but didn't care. Something about those boys stuck with her. Maybe their questions, their quiet confidence beneath the awkwardness, or simply that they reminded her of a time when she had been underestimated, too. Later that day, the boys returned to their mansion, a hillside estate with expansive glass walls and manicured gardens that whispered wealth instead of shouting it. They found their father sitting behind a grand piano, not playing, just sitting with an untouched tumbler of amber liquid nearby. "Everything all right?" he asked, noticing their demeanor. "No," the older brother replied quietly. "Not really." Their father motioned to the leather armchairs. "Sit. Tell me what happened." They explained the humiliation at the dealership, how they were judged, dismissed, laughed at, but also mentioned the kind woman who treated them with respect. "Did she know who you were?" their father asked. No, we didn't say our last name. Smart, the father murmured. The younger one asked, Why do people treat you different based on what you're wearing? Because people often confuse appearance with value, and that tells you more about them than it ever does about you. The father simply said, Thank you for telling me, then returned to staring out the window. Dinner that night was unusually quiet. The brothers picked at their food, occasionally glancing at their father. You're not mad? The older brother finally asked. Their father placed his fork down gently. I don't waste anger on people who show me who they are. I pay attention and then I act when it matters. Later, in the privacy of his study, the father made a quiet phone call. Yes, I need both cars delivered here by 8 a.m. tomorrow. Have the drivers wait outside the dealership. I want the timing to be precise. He ended the call and leaned back. His sons had been judged by what they wore. He was about to remind the world that real power doesn't need to announce itself. It simply arrives. The next morning, 2 Rolls-Royce Boat Tails, among the most expensive cars in the world, pulled up in front of the dealership. One obsidian black with silver trimmings, the other a deep royal blue with rose gold accents. Together, worth well over $50 million. Heads turned, conversations stopped mid-sentence, phones came out. From the back seat of the royal blue boat tail, the 2 teenage boys stepped out, wearing the exact same combat shorts and white t-shirts from the day before. Then their father emerged from the black one, dressed in a sharply tailored dark gray suit, adjusting his cufflinks, not for show but because he expected precision in everything. Inside the dealership, the arrogant salesman's laughter caught in his throat when he recognized the boys. Then fear set in as he saw the man who followed behind them. The entire atmosphere of the showroom thickened as the trio entered. I'd like to speak to the staff member who assisted my sons yesterday, the father said to the receptionist. The arrogant salesman stepped forward quickly. Sir, that was actually me. The father cut him off with one look. No, you weren't the one who helped them. He turned to the dealership manager. I believe your security cameras recorded yesterday's interactions. After reviewing the footage, the manager returned, face pale. The staff member who helped your sons was Emily Torres. He confirmed the salesman had misrepresented the interaction, behaving inappropriately and unprofessionally. You judged my sons the moment they walked in, not based on who they were, but what they wore, the father said to the salesman. You turned your nose up because you assumed they didn't belong. And the irony is, you don't belong here. The manager terminated the salesman on the spot. He collected his things and walked out past the very boys he'd dismissed. When Emily was brought forward, the father smiled. You treated my sons with respect when no one else did. They were polite, smart. It was a pleasure, she replied. The father pointed toward the hypercar the boys had admired. I'd like to purchase it. Fully loaded. Every feature they mentioned. That's over $3 million, Emily said, eyes wide. Then make it 3.1, and make sure the full commission goes to you. He signed the paperwork right where the salesman had laughed the day before. As the paperwork was finalized, the boys looked around at the people who had judged them, now standing quietly with expressions mixing shame and awe. Happy early birthday, the father said, holding the keys out to his sons. They took them with quiet pride. No cheers, no bragging, just victory. They drove away in their new car, followed by the Boat Tails, leaving behind silence and a story no one at that dealership would ever forget. Inside, the dealership remained quiet, employees frozen in disbelief. The customer who had smirked now lowered his gaze. The junior salesperson who had laughed rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. Emily Torres emerged from the manager's office with a neatly folded letter. a quiet promotion to senior sales consultant with her own office and team. She didn't cry or boast, simply walked through the showroom with her head held high, past the same co-workers who had questioned her instincts just 24 hours ago. The dealership felt different now. Where once there was laughter and arrogance, there was reflection. The empty desk where the arrogant salesman once stood was now a monument to a mistake, his nameplate gone, his absence louder than his voice ever was. This wasn't about a car. It was about how people are treated when no one knows their name, about what happens when you confuse modesty for mediocrity and mistake simplicity for insignificance. It was about judgment and kindness, and about the fact that respect isn't demanded, it's earned, and kindness is never wasted.